Good. We're recording here. Okay, cool. All right. Snap it anytime there. We're good. Yep. All right. Cool.
All right.
So we're official here, huh?
Good.
Good deal. All right. You ready, Brian? Going your direction there? Yeah, sounds good. Give us a count. All right, good evening and welcome to Loveland Spotlight. My name is Joe Wessels. I'm here with County Commissioner Todd Portune. We're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to live in Loveland and be in Hamilton County, which is, interestingly enough, in three different counties.
We're not in Hamilton County here.
I know, we're actually here at Ramsey's Trailside.
A great place.
And there's actually three counties. We're in the Clermont County portion. We're just up the road here. Will be just a few hundred yards, actually. We're in Warren County. But let me introduce you really quick, Todd, if you don't mind.
Joe, you do whatever you want to do.
Okay,
it's your show.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you. Todd has been a county commissioner since November of 2000. Prior to that, he was on the Cincinnati City Council. He serves as the county commission president twice during his tenure. As most recently, I believe, ending last year, correct?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, it technically January the 8th of this year, but
okay.
But who's counting?
That's right. Who's counting? Right. Exactly. The past president, also the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana Regional Council of Government Board of Trustees. You chair the Hamilton County Transportation Improvement District. You're involved with the Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency as well as on the executive committee. You chaired the Homeland Security Commission. You go on and on. Board of Revisions. Stormwater oversight, which is a little bit of an issue we might want to touch on a little bit here because
Sure.
of the sewer district here in Loveland, too. That's something that is a concern of folks because the sewer bills went up as well, too. So, Todd, welcome to the second edition of the Loveland Spotlight, and thank you for coming out to Loveland.
Joe, thank you very much. Glad to be here, and you couldn't have picked a better night. Spring is finally here in Ohio. Glad to see that that's happening, and we'd love to see the Redlegs winning, but the fact that they're here and playing is good news for everybody.
Yeah, very good. We got one of the red leg statues just a few feet from us.
I saw that as I was coming in. It takes your breath away when you're driving in here. Yeah. I love what's happened here in Loveland. It has been a great rebirth, if you will, of a wonderful city in the Greater Cincinnati region. I have to say that because Loveland, of course, is in three different counties.
Right.
But it's a wonderful
70% in Hamilton County, though.
That's correct. That's correct. But it's a wonderful renaissance that is taking place. And I think everybody involved in that renaissance should be very, very proud of what they're doing, as I know all the residents of Loveland are.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah, I think so, too. We should say the Ramsey's Trailside actually is in the building, or the row of buildings that caught on fire on Memorial Day weekend in 2017. This building itself only had smoke damage, but this is all part of the whole entire sort of revitalization of downtown Loveland, starting with the Bishop's Quarter, the Bishop Building on the other side, and then working the way down here to Ramsey's Trailside. So
it's beautiful. Actually, my former chief of staff lives in the condominiums that were built just over here by the river.
This evening,
well, I did reach out to her to see if she could make it, but
you could.
Unfortunately not.
Okay, well, that's...
Or she's staying out of the public profile these days. I'm not sure what it is.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. So, and I guess we should say full disclosure that I know Todd from when I covered the Hamilton County Commission as a reporter for the long, may rest in peace, Cincinnati Post newspaper. So we went back many years.
We did, and I remember those days. I think that the city and the county surrounding region was much better off when we had two competing dailies that were in business. There's no doubt that each of the daily papers challenged each other. And Joe, you as a reporter, you were always out there trying to outscoop the Enquirer reporter. And as someone who's involved in local government, it was a lot of fun to have quality journalism coming forward from both papers, and to have reporters that really were interested not just in getting the scoop, but getting everything right and making sure the facts checked out and all those things that are critically important to a free press, and a free press doing what a free press needs to do.
Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that, and I hope to do that with Loveland Local News here, which is about to launch probably any day now here. So officially on the website, we have a Facebook presence and a Twitter presence and Pinterest and all the other social media as well. But Loveland Local News, I think, is something that is needed in this area. And I think people like yourself, it's important that you come out here to Loveland. And I think that's something I want to start off with saying. I guess I'm gonna let out a little secret here.
Sure.
You're a Democrat.
I don't think that's a secret, but
okay, it's not a secret.
Yeah,
okay.
but I don't think people look at me that
Republican
way.
Country here.
Well, that's okay.
How do you deal with that?
Well, everybody. First of all, I deal with it because I don't act as just a Democrat or Republican or some other party. One of the reasons I've been able to stay in office as long as I have is I think it's really important that first and foremost you're a public servant.
Right.
And you focus on those things that are important to the people. I know that sounds cliche-ish and everybody says that, but it really is true. If you get down to the nuts and bolts of what it takes to get things done, the voters see that. They know who is a fraud and who is not a fraud. Mm-hmm. You see those results at the polls. And I've been very fortunate. I think I've come to a point in my public career where I don't think people look at me as a Republican or a Democrat. They just look at me as the county commissioner who is there to get things done. And I have people come to me all the time, and they'll say like it's a secret. You know, Todd, I'm a Republican, but I really came to you because you're the guy that will get something done.
Gotcha.
And so I don't share their secret, and they come to me, but
you don't check the card before they come in your office,
I don't do
right?
anything like that. No,
okay.
that how ridiculous that would be. But the bottom line is you gotta focus on the stuff that is really important to people, and I've made a career of doing that. And the other thing is you got to respond when people call your office on any issue, no matter how big or small it is. Mm-hmm. People want your help. Yeah. They don't want you to refer them to some other department. Job and Family Services at the county is a big example of this. We get a lot of our constituent calls from individuals who are concerned. They feel they haven't been adequately taken care of, or there's an issue that's unresolved, whatever the case may be. And so they call their commissioners for help. Well, they don't want the commissioner to refer them right back to Job and Family Services, for example, and say, here, work with this person or work with. They want you to get to the bottom of the issue and provide them an answer, and that's been my credo in the office, which is anybody calls, we don't refer it out. We take ownership over that issue and work to try to find a resolution.
Sure, and that's great. So, when I was covering you for the Cincinnati Post, you were the lone Democrat. I believe it was at that time. It was Phil Heimlich and Pat DeWine.
They were together at one point. Right. Now, when I first got elected, Joe, I was the first Democrat that got elected in 36 years.
I was going to say that, right. Yeah.
36 years.
And there was sort of a one-off then. Was it 1954? There was one Democrat elected, I believe? Or there was a, no, I'm sorry.
It was 64.
So, I'm sorry, 64.
64, yeah.
64, and there were two Democrats.
There had been, right.
And for just a brief amount of time.
For 2 years, and the other Democrat lost in that subsequent election, and then the lone Democrat lost at the next election. So 1964, before my election, was the last time there had been a Democrat on the county commission. A lot of people thought, well,
I thought it would never happen. I mean, I kind of thought. I mean, not when you won, but I was surprised. I mean, I think 2,000 people were surprised. You're kind of sort of were on the stadium deal, which has become a big issue that you've been fighting for
correct
since 2000, I would say.
And we've had somewhat of a happy turn of events as far as that goes recently. Just last year, we actually renegotiated the lease with the Cincinnati Bengals. Uh-huh. So after all these years of trying one way or another to get that done, we reached common ground with the Bengals. No longer do we have the what were called the out-year payments, which was almost a $30 million obligation on taxpayers where they literally got nothing in return. You had the Bengals that were given almost veto rights over the development at the banks through development guidelines and in certain ways. Yep. Those have now been eliminated. We have capped the taxpayers' exposure for the cost of future improvements at the stadiums. It was that if so many other NFL stadiums get a particular bell or whistle, we were obligated to do the same thing. It was a literal blank check to the Bengals in perpetuity.
It's been written that was a very lucrative deal, probably the most lucrative deal for any NFL team that got a new stadium, which I think was all.
Well, you weren't the only person that wrote that.
Yeah.
That was
I would
written.
say I didn't write that actually at the time. I think I read that a few years back. I know we covered some of that, but that's kind of what allowed you. I think people realized that kind of the raw deal they got you maybe elected the first time, at least.
I wouldn't deny that. Yeah, I would not deny that.
And it took another 7 years or so, I guess, to get David Pepper elected.
Right.
And David Pepper was on the county commission, and then that was Chris Monzell, I believe, at that point, and then because
Greg Hartman first was Greg Hartman. Greg got elected in
David. I can't remember.
David.
You remember?
Excuse me. Yeah,
you were there.
Excuse me, I was there.
Yeah, right.
I just had lunch with Greg Hartman, by the way, today.
Oh, good. How's he doing?
He's doing very well.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
His law practice working well.
Very good.
But David got elected in 06, Hartman in 08, and then Chris Monzell got elected in 2012.
Oh, that's correct. I'm sorry. Because he was at city council when I was covering City Hall.
Right.
So now, as I guess is a long way of saying, there are 3 Democrats on the Hamilton County Commission. That has never happened before.
No, I don't think it ever has. As far we've looked at the books, the archives, back to the courthouse fire, which was back in the 1870s.
1870s. Okay, right.
And we have not. There's no evidence of a 3 Democrat commission going back that far. Okay. The records are kind of sketchy before then.
So, and I guess you've already kind of answered this in a way, but people that are in Loveland who are Republicans, they don't have anything to be worried about. They can still call their county commissioner.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about some of the issues.
Well, and let me explain, add to that real quick, if I could, Joe, because right after the election in 18, the very day after, a bank of reporters came to the county to interview me. I was president of the board. And they wanted to know, well, gosh, you're going to have a unanimous county commission. Isn't this like your wildest dream? Did you ever expect you would have this great thing happen, et cetera, et cetera?
I would have probably asked the same question.
Probably.
Yep.
And I said, well, first of all, I never dreamed about having a unanimous commission, and I don't think that way. But the reality is that it's a very humbling experience. And we have to govern now with far greater responsibility, accountability, because now it is completely on us to make sure that every person in Hamilton County feels represented. Not just the Democrats, the Republicans need to be represented as well. Because the election's over, now it's our job to get to the business of the county and make sure we do it in a way that, again, you get back to that best interest of the people. But make sure that everyone in Hamilton County believes that they still have a seat at the table of power, if you will, to make sure their voices are heard, to make sure that we are looking at all options in front of us before we make a decision. So it's a very sort of what's the word I'm looking for? It's a humbling outcome, and it's a huge responsibility on us to make sure that we govern responsibly and accountably.
Gotcha. So what is the county's role in a place like Loveland or any city or village? Where does the county, what kind of impact do you have? I mean, obviously people in the Hamilton County portion of Loveland could vote for you, but what does a county commissioner mean to somebody who lives in Loveland?
Well, we're primarily, number one, our primary responsibility is we are the administrative agent of the state of Ohio. All Ohio programs are meted out locally in the 88 counties of the state through county commissions. And if you go back to the origin of the state, why do we have this title? Because we have been given a commission by the governor of the state to carry out the state's business on a county-by-county basis. So okay. all the state's programs, we have a responsibility relative to those. That means that the Ohio Revised Code, the law in Ohio, is adopted by the General Assembly, signed into law by the governor, covering all things from your typical criminal law to environmental concerns and issues to the humane treatment of animals to you name it. We have the responsibility to make sure that those laws are properly enforced. that what the legislature and the governor put into place is carried out. So counties primarily are service-oriented organizations. We provide services for people who are in need through Job and Family Services. It used to be called the Welfare Department. So that kind of broadly describes what they do.
Yep.
Also very
much more complex than that these
much
days.
more complex, but I think that gives people an initial general understanding of what that means. We have a responsibility.
What is their budget? What is the budget for Job and Family? It's humongous.
It is big, but a lot of that money is pass-through money that comes from the federal government, that goes to the states, that comes to us, and then we responsibly parse that out.
And that's not people
food stamps, programs, things like that. That's all through that.
But that's like your neglected children foster program.
It is. Yeah, abandoned, abused, and neglected children. It's a giant department. Overall, when you look at all the money that flows through that department, it's about $1 billion.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
It really is a lot of money. And then we supplement that through local levies, not the least of which is the Children's Services Levy. Right. And that all goes toward the care and treatment of kids, augments whatever other money we get for taking care of to make sure kids are not abused, or those that are or abandoned or neglected, that we find proper homes for them. That's the whole foster care and adoption programs and all that comes into play.
Love to talk to you a little bit about roads, because that's a big thing out here.
Sure.
We have a little break built into this. Surprise. So
Great.
we're going to take a quick break, and
all right.
you can get a drink of water or whatever we need to do.
Thanks.
But we're watching. You're watching. I'm watching. I'm participating in. I don't know. I'm a print guy.
Somebody's watching.
Somebody's watching, we hope, right? We're down here at Ramsey's Trailside in downtown Loveland. I'm Joe Wessels with Loveland Local News with Hamilton County Commissioner Todd Portune. We'll be right back after this quick message.
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
Are you doing a white check? Oh, sorry. Okay. Welcome back to Loveland Local News, Loveland Spotlight. I'm Joe Wessels, the editor and publisher of Loveland Local News. Along with here, my special guest, all the way out here in the corner of Hamilton County Commissioner Todd Portune. Todd, thanks again for coming out here. And
Joe, it's my pleasure. And you said kind of all the way out here, but I want to again assure everyone in Loveland that Loveland is an important part of Hamilton County.
Okay, very good.
The four corners of the county, the outer reaches. Hamilton County is a great county. We're a very diverse county, and our diversity is a good part of why we are so rich in talent and experience. Sure. Why this county, this part of Ohio, weathers recessions and other things as well as it does, because we have a very, very diverse economic base and population, and we have wonderful places for people to live, work, and play in all of the four corners of the county and the interior in between. So very important Loveland is, irrespective of the fact that portions of it are also in Clermont and Warren County. In fact, you could say that Loveland is actually a great example of the kind of interjurisdictional collaboration and cooperation that we need to see on a broader scale.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a big issue. I think shared services is something that we can talk about. The state of the county was a couple days ago. Commissioner Denise Driehaus delivered that. She's now the current president of the county commission.
Correct.
Denise and I have known each other a long time as well. She brought up a couple things that I wanted to talk on. Shared services is an interesting discussion to have. It's not something that's always very popular. I was kind of surprised that she brought that up. I got a lot of flack for a column I wrote about 10 years ago suggesting that we should have maybe a metro police department. A lot of the people on the law enforcement side thought I was turning on them. So, but speaking of the police department, here in Loveland, we're lucky to have a very qualified, very professional, excellent police department here led by Chief Sean Ray. And I was surprised when I first moved to Loveland here about 5 years ago. Being the nosy reporter that I am, I stopped one night when they had a crime scene set up, and I asked what was going on. And it had turned out that there had been an opioid overdose.
Yep.
And it was, I want to say it was like March. I'd have to say for sure, but it may have been February. And the officer, who I never have seen since, and I know a few of the officers now in Loveland, but I don't remember who this gentleman was. He may not even be with Loveland anymore. But he said, this is, I think he said this is our 8th this year. Yeah. I mean, I said, since January 1st? Loveland? And he said, yeah, in Loveland.
Yeah.
This is everywhere. This is Harrison, Ohio. This is downtown Cincinnati. This is Loveland, Ohio. What can we do about the heroin and opioid epidemic in Hamilton County? It's a mess.
Well, we're doing a lot when it comes to it. In fact, Hamilton County sort of has been at the forefront of positive change in the kinds of things that you have to do with multi-jurisdictional collaborations to get your arms around the issue, but to treat it largely as a public health issue as opposed to simply a law enforcement issue.
Sure.
Now, the origin of our heroin coalition, if you will, came with a police effort, and that was out of Chief Tom Sinan from Newtown, Ohio.
Okay,
another very proud, strong, but small community.
Sure.
But nonetheless, you got great talent there, great leadership. So as Chief Sinan led the formation of our coalition, it took on then a broader scale with the county getting involved, and more partners have been built into this. Chief Sinan was recognized as by the U.S. Congress for his work and being in the forefront of work to battle this. But you got
into this. Is it getting better?
It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
You got to treat this though as a health issue. And basically. And one of the things I think sets Hamilton County apart from other jurisdictions is our approach is you've got to save a life in order to save a life. Now, that sounds redundant, but what we really mean by that is someone who's overdosing, you got to save that person's life, literally, so that you can get them then enrolled into the proper treatment, get them detoxed, get them moving on their way, surround them with friends, appropriate professionals, healthcare givers, and others, so that they can beat the scourge of drug addiction and move on to becoming productive members of our community. We're working very closely with law enforcement. There's a new initiative pioneered first in Colerain Township. We've now taken it on a county-wide basement, and that's law enforcement assisted diversion. What that means is that police officers, when they're out in the field, they encounter someone who is overdosing on heroin, they have the discretion of whether to arrest, cite that person, or whether to get them without any criminal record or criminal contact, if you will, get them enrolled in, get them to a treatment provider, into a proper program and that sort of thing. But your law enforcement, they're in most cases the first responders out there in the field in all of this. And so by giving law enforcement the discretion to be able to not have to write a citation for what is a criminal act, but instead it is a huge change in thinking. But we've had tremendous cooperation with local law enforcement. I give Commissioner Driehaus great credit for helping to take what Colerain Township pioneered and take that on a countywide basis, getting the buy-in from law enforcement, from the legislature, from others. So that's something that is being done now. But you can't look at this as criminal behavior only, get people in a jail. Too many people come out of jail being better criminals than they were when they went in. And so, especially in this issue with heroin, it's a healthcare epidemic. People are addicted to this stuff. You got to get them detoxed. You got to get them into a proper treatment facility. And the more that we're able to do that, we are doing it. We've made the distribution of Narcan, which is the life-saving drug when someone's overdosing, available across the board to law enforcement, to citizens, to families, to drugstore, to you name it.
And we can't just put them all in jail.
So that it's out there everywhere. So again, so you can save a life in order to save that life.
Sure. And touching on something that we were talking about 10 years ago, our jail, I just toured our jail a few months ago for the first time. The jail is still way overcrowded. There's no room to put these people, even if you want. I mean, you can't arrest your way. I think to quote maybe Senator Thomas, that you can't arrest your way out of this situation, right? I believe he was. I heard him say that.
We've got so many different things going on right now to try to address our jail overcrowding situation. Number one is we've got too many people that remain incarcerated because they've been sentenced there for minor crimes when some other means of appropriate criminal sentence would be proper in their circumstance. Number two, one of the ways the state is solving its budget problems is it's pushing more and more unfunded mandates down on the locals. And we have this in our jail now where low-level felonies are F5 felons.
Yep.
The state is pushing those down now to local jails to handle, as opposed to them being a part of the state's system, Department of Corrections, because states are supposed to handle felon convictions after they've been sentenced. The locals deal with misdemeanor convictions, and our jails aren't set up to house felons
so
this
people are
way.
saying they're beyond the 6 months, beyond their sentencing.
Well, it's a new thing now where the state is starting to send back to local county jails convicted felons who otherwise would have been in the state's penal institutions. But it's one of the ways the state is balancing its budget, Joe, is they're getting out of the business of housing certain classes of felons, and they're saying to us at the local level, here, you now have the responsibility of dealing with them. So that's not only compounding our jail overcrowding problem, it's compounding our budget problem at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we're not getting enough support from the state to cover the costs of these new felons that we're required to handle.
Lost the light there. We lost the light here. We may lose more here in a second. Hopefully.
Battery life extended,
power life,
yeah.
Yes, apparently that we lost it on that. Maybe we should take a quick break, and I can put a new light on there. Does that sound good? We'll go ahead. Oh,
there it
look,
is.
there it came back on like magic.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
You mentioned it and it happened.
There we got
Thank you,
right
Brian,
there.
or Melissa or Rebecca. I'm not sure who it was, or maybe it was Ryan. I don't know. Somebody caused it to happen.
Very good.
Maybe it was the ownership and management here at Ramsey's Trailside.
Very good, very good. I think, are we ready for a break? Brian's saying maybe it was God, right? Okay. Should we do a quick break? We'll do that, and we can maybe check the battery levels and the lights and make sure we're not going to lose anymore. So here, again, this is Loveland Spotlight. I'm Joe Wessels with the Loveland Local News. We're at Ramsey's Trailside in downtown Loveland, right next to the Little Miami Scenic Trail, a.k.a. the Loveland Bike Trail, even though it goes lots of places besides Loveland.
Yes.
Just a fun fact, I guess, right? We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Loveland Spotlight. I'm Joe Wessels from Loveland Local News. I'm here with Hamilton County Commissioner Todd Portune. We are down here next to the Loveland Bike Trail, a.k.a. the Little Miami Scenic Trail at Ramsey's Trailside. Thank you very much to Ramsey's Trailside for allowing us to record down here this evening. It's starting to get dark on a beautiful spring evening here in downtown Loveland, and you should come down here sometime and check out Ramsey's Trailside. Great food, excellent food, I would say. I've had it a few times myself, and a great atmosphere now that the weather's warmed up. First time it's warmed up, I think, since this place opened. So now you can enjoy the nice patio. They have a rooftop. They have another patio on the other side of the dining room. This, I think, is going to be a hot place to check out here.
It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah,
and just the whole, again, the rebirth out of the fire that took place here it's almost a metaphor for what we've been trying to do at the county with the banks, with other development that's taking place in the central basin area, with our efforts with freight transportation, neighborhood economic development, housing through the Port Authority and the Land Bank, and all these different things. Is counties are kind of like people. You in terms of they live a certain life in a way, then everybody's confronted with some kind of a trauma or event with a body of government. It's largely with your budget, your revenues, your resources go down. You got to figure out ways to make do with what you've got, literally reinvent yourself because times change. The creative class, in this one of our challenges, finding ways to retain our creative class in Hamilton County.
Yep.
And so you literally have to reinvent yourself, grow, redevelop, almost the rebirth of an entire community. And you see that happening all over Hamilton County in little spots. And, of course, you see that going on here in Loveland. Now, admittedly, we're not in the Hamilton County part of Loveland right now, but I know from speaking with residents in the Hamilton County side as well that there's great energy and passion to have the kind of rebirth and regeneration of that side of Loveland, as you're seeing right here where the fire took place, and these wonderful places like Ramsey's Trailside emerging out of that and offering such a great opportunity.
It's neat to see this whole kind of transformation from starting all the way at the banks, going through over the Rhine and downtown Cincinnati, and it's not just isolated to those areas. We're seeing a lot of Westwood, the West Side, Coleraine Avenue. There's a lot of rebirthing happening in Coleraine Township, and all the way over here onto the west side the east side. Whew. I'm in big trouble.
East side. You've got the incline district that is great in terms of East Price Hill. The redevelopment of Westwood. And sort of the historic business district there, the town hall, the library, Hankey's Winery, those places.
Absolutely.
Then you look on some of our east side communities with tremendous redevelopment taking place in Silverton under the leadership of Mayor John Smith. You've got new things that are happening in Sims Township and in the city of Montgomery, in Sycamore Township, and the list really goes on. Woodlawn, Lincoln Heights, there's tremendous energy there. Evendale, Sharonville, look at what's going on with their Northern Lights initiative begun under Mayor Virgil Lovett, and continuing on right now with Mayor Kevin Hardman, and the Sharonville Convention Center, which we were able to find funding for as part of the downtown Duke Center renovation, and finding the funding for that. It was a package deal that the county led the creation of, so that as the one center expanded, so too did we generate money and find money that was available to redevelop the other center and develop a convention center in Sharonville. And that's created a fund that has worked well now in places like Blue Ash, and it served as the basis for finding funding that went to Marymount, and on and on and on. I mean, there's this kind of passion and energy and redevelopment that's happening all over Hamilton County.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really great. So we're just going to do a little rapid fire here. We're going to do some rapid fire quick questions. Tell us about the sewer district. People in Loveland noticed immediately their sewer bills went through the roof. And I've talked to council members here in Loveland who have just fielded all kinds of troubling questions about the water rate, because the water and sewer kind of comes on one bill with the garbage in Loveland. Can we blame you, or why is the sewer rate so high in Loveland?
Well, I don't know why it would be so high in Loveland per se.
The Hamilton County portion, I guess.
Well, there was litigation between Loveland and the city of Loveland and the sewer district. Loveland wanted to withdraw out of MSD some years ago. That got resolved. Loveland is still in the sewer district, but there's been no rate increase at MSD for the past 4 years. Now, people get their bills at the same time. Water bills and sewer bills come at the same time. It may be related to water usage that bills are going up, but the sewer bills, the rates have been the same for the past 4 years. And we just concluded.
Who controls the rates? Do you, or does
we do?
city?
The county commission controls them. So no rate increases for the past 4 years, but they are tied to water usage. So you've got to be very mindful of your water usage, because that affects how much your sewer bill is going to be. But we've got to put an end to this mess of dual oversight of MSD. Today at the county, we introduced a proposal. We're asking the federal judge that is handling the litigation between the city and the county to approve it. It would generate finally one entity that's in control, one entity that has oversight, and that would be the owner, which is Hamilton County. Okay. And you say, why us? Well, we've saved $780 million on MSD projects in the last 5 years. We just successfully worked in a bipartisan way with Congress, got new legislation adopted that's going to save us $1 billion on sewer costs over the next 10 to 15 years. You compare the city's proposed cost of projects that we have to do under the consent decree to the counties, both getting the work done, ours being 10% of the cost of what the city advanced for no good reason. The city is not taking advantage of this new legislation that was adopted. So, we've got to clean that mess up, and we introduced a proposal today that we think will do that.
Okay, we're not doing very good at the rapid fire.
Sorry. Let's try it again, though. Let's try it again. All right.
There's so many issues.
Yeah, there really are.
I wanted to talk about the tax. So the local government fund, without getting into the weeds about what that is all about, but that was basically a government fund, a state government fund that basically was handed back down to the local governments.
It was.
How do we keep our taxes low in Hamilton County?
Well, it starts with the state of Ohio.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be different with Governor DeWine, or do you?
Well, it's not so much the governor as it is the General Assembly. We have so many people that run for office, state office, on this. They campaign on smaller government, reduce spending and lower taxes. All right.
Okay.
So they reduce the size of the state government because they quit doing things they used to do. They lower, so that lowers the size of it. They lower their costs because they're not spending for those things that they're no longer doing, and they keep taxes low because they're not raising taxes to cover the cost of those things. But they require all of that work that they're no longer doing, they're no longer spending money for, they're no longer raising taxes for, to be they require all that to be done by us at the local level. So it is the state that, through unfunded mandates, by failing to fund things at the levels that they used to, by failing to properly come up with the money they need to cover state mandates, that's what's causing taxes at the local level. And it's not just the county, it's your townships, it's your municipalities.
It's
everybody's raising taxes because the state is not funding the local government fund like it did. They're taking away revenue sources. They're getting out of the business of doing what they used to do, but they're still mandating that the townships, the villages, the cities, and the counties pick up what the state no longer is doing and get it done without financial support. That's the problem.
Right, and so the little tax increases come. I always tell people this: your property taxes may not go up, but now there might be an additional levy. It won't be necessarily the main tax. That's not the right terminology, but the main tax.
The base. The inside millage is what we refer to it as. The inside millage, right, stays the same.
But then you get a library levy. You get because all these things that used to be funded by the state aren't funded anymore.
Yep.
And then we have
you'll get a police and fire levy that because the local government fund has been cut to that particular community. We are looking potentially to raise the sales tax in part to deal with the issue of 911 communications.
Sure.
Because the state is not acting. Be a very simple piece of legislation to solve that problem, but they haven't acted.
That a city official here told me in Loveland a couple of years ago that the local government fund being taken away was equivalent to 1/3 of their general fund being removed.
That's right.
And does that sound accurate to you?
It is accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
There are lots of local governments that are losing that much of their general fund budget, but yet they're still required to do the same things and mandated by the state. How do they deal with that? They have to come up with the revenue somehow, so they'll put on a new levy for general governmental services or police and fire, do something that way and to try to cover it. So taxes are going up at the local level, but its origin is the failure of the legislature to do what the state of Ohio used to do, which was pay for, fund, do the things that a state government is supposed to do.
So infrastructure, to go a little rapid fire here, and I think we're almost out of time here, and I wanted to ask you a couple other questions. But the infrastructure issue is everywhere. You're dealing with the Brent Spence Bridge, which is more of a federal but state program, but it definitely affects the county because it's part of it lands in the county. Sure. You got Western Hills Viaduct. Loveland is, I think I've heard somebody told me that Ken Brew calls, who lives here in Loveland, calls it the little town with a big traffic problem.
Yep.
So what can a county do to help better the roads? You improve the roads. I mean, it's more money, right?
It's more money. The state gave us the authority to increase the auto license fee. We did that. About half of that is going to the Western Hills Viaduct. The other half is going to road projects all over the county to help deal with the problem of potholes and bridge replacement and all that other stuff that's being done. But we need a much bigger infusion of money from that. State's doing a little bit. They're raising the gas tax coming up.
Yep.
But
kind
still,
of a big deal. Were you surprised that a Republican did?
Well, they had to. I mean, honestly, Joe, the condition of our state budget for transportation is a scandal. 90% of the state's money is just paying off the interest on work that's already been done.
Wow.
Which left absolutely nothing to deal with current problems and projects. So they had to finally be embarrassed almost into doing something. They did. It's not nearly enough. Federal government needs to act that way as well. But at the local level, we need to have much more money generated for local roadway infrastructure and bridge projects than we have today. So that's, again, another thing where the state and the federal government have not acted the way in which they need to. So that's something that's going to fall on the locals to be able to address these problems. The other thing, of course, is transit. Yep. And we've got to solve the transit problem, but it won't be solved if the city of Cincinnati, Chamber of Commerce, and SORTA keep pushing a plan that does not integrate new service out into the townships and the other municipalities in the county doesn't provide better service for people with disabilities, and doesn't provide a fair and a balanced funding plan.
There are so many things we could talk about. I think we just scratched the surface.
We have, yeah.
But
I'll come back again sometime.
Well, I would love that.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic. Tell me a little bit, too. I said this at the outset, then we didn't talk about it. How are you doing health-wise?
Oh, gosh. Thank you for asking. I'm doing great. The past 12 months have been about the toughest challenge I faced physically in my life. I lost a leg. I went through chemotherapy. I have learned how to use a prosthetic, all these different things. But I'm doing well. Cancer's under control.
There goes
and
low budget here, right? So there we go.
And you make do. Joe, you make do with what you've got. You've got to. It's all about reinventing yourself, but never looking at the downside. Looking at everything you've got as a positive and moving forward. And at the end of the day, it really is about grace and God, and everything that happens to us in life is a blessing. And what's important is how we react to it, because if we react to it and demonstrate that none of these challenges are insurmountable, we really are glorifying God and all of His generosity and blessings in showing that to others, so everyone can live a complete and a full life.
Well, it sounds like you have a wonderful attitude, but I don't know if I could have done what you've gone through. But
it's grace. It really is grace.
I mean, bless you for being able to do that and being here with us tonight. I appreciate that. I think the lights are going off. The crew's packing up and leaving here on us over time.
All right.
Mr.
Thanks,
Portune,
Joe.
Commissioner Portune, thank you so much for coming out here tonight.
My pleasure.
Hopefully we'll get to do it again sometime. Thank you very much.
I look forward to it, Joe. Thanks very much.
Very good. Thank you for watching Loveland Spotlight with Hamilton County Commissioner Todd Portune here at Ramsey's Trailside in downtown Loveland. Tune in next month when we'll have another special guest from another special venue in Loveland, Ohio. I'm Joe Wessels. Have a great night, and thanks again for watching.
No, I'm not answering that question.
No.